We love cycling for lots of reasons, but one of them is we can do it alone or we can do it together. And when we're out there, either alone or together, it gives us time to think, to wonder, to imagine. And for me, I have some of my most creative thinking while riding on my own.
As we age, our health begins to decline, and that's just a fact of life. If we don't pay attention to our health and do all we can to maintain or improve it, it can actually decline faster. But stay with us as we uncover some health benefits of cycling.
You know, as we enter retirement, we can bring with us, bad habits, poor nutrition, and maybe even a lack of exercise. What is the pointing?
Well, you came into retirement that way.
I did not.
You did.
And that can send us on a path of rapid decline. The Mayo Clinic tells us that the following is a normal part of the aging process. And at the top of the list is heart health. That's the most common change we go through. And also as we age, our bones, our muscles, and our joints weaken and shrink, which isn't helpful at all.
And there are other areas where problems occur. Your digestive system changes, your bladder and urinary tract start to have some issues, memory and thinking skills sometimes start to go awry. And then, of course, there's your eyes, your ears, your teeth. Why are we doing this? The list goes on.
Well, we started to look for ways to slow or reverse this process. And while we never found the fountain of youth...
Still looking.
I know you want us to find that. We did find cycling. And the effects that cycling has on all of these changes that we go through are incredible. And that's what we want to focus on today.
And it starts way back in 2009. As wedding presents to each other, we bought each other bikes.
Of course we did.
And all they did was sit in our garage and collect dust. With our hectic careers, we never found the time to get into it. And once we retired and moved to Marco Island, we thought we'd start up our cycling journey again on those old bikes.
Well, my cycling started a long time ago as a young kid because I had a paper route. Did you ever have a paper route?
I did not.
Okay. Any of you ever have a paper route? You can relate to this. The bike with the two baskets. But it was also my means of transportation to get to school, hang out with my friends. And then when bars came about, that was the most convenient way to get to and from bars so I didn't have to drive. But once I started driving, why are you laughing at me? Yeah, I went to bar hopping on my bicycle. But once I started driving, my cycling went away.
And then when we did move to Florida, I wanted a beach cruiser.
Yellow one.
You know the kind with the basket. And, you can go to the grocery store, put your stuff in. And Mark kept pointing at my 15-year-old Trek bike, which was a hybrid, good for the trails, good for the road, and I had no interest.
But I also made the point that we're not just going to keep on buying new stuff and things. So we made a deal, a compromise. We would commit to riding a few days a week on the old bikes, and if we used them consistently, we would look at the new bikes.
So we began our cycling journey. We did 2 miles, and then 3 miles, and then 5 miles, and it didn't really seem to hit us. We both felt it was a little bit boring.
Yeah, it was. But it was when we did our first 10-mile ride that you and I really felt a change. A couple of things happened. It was a huge ride. It was a goal that we had. And once we did that, we started researching the benefits of cycling, and we realized, which we're going to go through now, how much better it would be for us if we could do it more often.
It definitely took me a little longer because I'm dedicated to my yoga practice. So carving out the time to do a ride and do a long ride, it was a little bit longer for me.
It was.
But I can safely say now I'm hooked. And we just rode 30 miles on Tuesday and 20 miles this morning.
Which was great. Now, I started back in January, and like Jody said, we did 1, 3, and 5 miles. But I kept pushing myself a little bit because I started to realize I was losing weight. My energy was better. I was more alert. And then I started to do 20-mile ride, and then 30, and then 40. And then I pushed myself to 50. And it was at that point when I realized, you know what? I'm turning 65 on April 15th. I'm going to set a goal to ride 65 miles on or around my birthday. And that's what I did. I rode 65 miles just before I turned 65. And reaching that goal for me was amazing.
And really, what you said was if you rode 30 miles 3 times in 1 week, we would look for new bikes. So
Right.
I was super encouraging to
You
get
were.
those 30 miles in. And I'm happy to say, after much research, we bought a brand new state of the art e bike through Specialized.
For each of us. And we're going to address the selection process in a future video, and also more videos on how to get started in cycling. And actually, we'll show you our bikes and do a review of them because they really have changed our cycling habits.
So let's jump to the health benefits of cycling. And there are 3 main areas: mental health, physical health, and also, oddly enough, it broadens your social circle. So let's start with mental wellness.
Right. YMCA did a study that concluded that people who have a physical active lifestyle have a well-being score 32% higher than inactive people.
And if you set goals like distance, speed, cadence, or time, and you reach those goals, you get improved confidence, right? So that's a great mental health.
I love that you said cadence.
I know.
That was a new word to you 2 weeks ago.
No, it wasn't. I used it in Peloton
Oh.
all the time.
Okay, but on cycling, cadence is important.
Peloton is cycling.
Oh, thank you. But you're not moving anywhere. There's no wind in your face.
Keep going.
We love cycling for lots of reasons, but one of them is we can do it alone or we can do it together. And when we're out there, either alone or together, it gives us time to think, to wonder, to imagine. And for me, I have some of my most creative thinking while riding on my own.
So let's talk about weight loss. Any kind of activity is good, but cycling for us has really begun to show us a steady increase in weight loss. When you're riding, you can burn between 400 and 1,000 calories an hour.
That's amazing. Now, we can't guarantee you're going to lose weight, but the math is simple. If you burn more calories than you take in, you should be losing weight.
You know, and the balanced diet needs to be part of cycling. I did my first 30-mile ride with not enough nutrition on the front end and, quite frankly, not enough hydration on the back end. So you need to make sure you have a controlled calorie deficit and the appropriate protein intake to get the maximum effects.
Right, that is important. What about building muscle? We found that sure, cycling doesn't just burn fat, but it builds muscles too. And as we said earlier, as we age, I don't know if this is particularly with men, but we begin to lose muscle and the tissues around our bones, and our bones become brittle. So having strong muscles is really important, and that's something that cycling does.
It's important for women too. We both feel the change in our hamstrings and our glutes and our quads and our calves. And we also want to remind everyone to stretch. Really stretch every day before and after cycling. One
Yeah.
of us is good at that.
I'm very good at stretching. Oh my goodness. But besides building muscle, another health benefit of cycling is that it strengthens your immune system. This form of exercise done on a regular basis is going to strengthen your upper respiratory system. And this is actually going to have a good effect on your body.
It does. And it also helps reduce the chance of common colds. And frankly, with COVID, all of us can use a stronger immune system.
Yeah, and besides strengthening your immune system, cycling can reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. And I want to say that again because cycling can reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. That's a big deal.
The University of Glasgow did a study of 260,000 individuals over 6 years, and they found that cycling to work can reduce a rider's risk of heart disease or cancer by 50%.
That's amazing.
That's a lot.
So, and it's fun. Cycling, we hadn't talked enough about fun. We're going to do more videos on this. But we all know exercise is good for us and that there's many benefits. But, question is, what's the best exercise to do? And in our opinion, cycling is right up there at the top.
We both do other forms of exercise, but this is one really low impact, so there's not much undue stress on your body.
And when you're cycling, you're pumping lots of blood and oxygen into your brain. And this, in turn, is going to boost your brain power. There was a study in 2013 that found that cycling increases the flow of blood into your brain by 28%, 70% in some areas of your brain.
This is a heavy flow of blood into the brain, and it's also going to help you with sleep, which we all need.
Right.
And on top of all that improved brain health, it will help you with the concerns of any memory loss or chronic conditions of Alzheimer's or dementia.
And I worry about that because of my
I know.
mom who had Alzheimer's. So anything that we can do to improve our health, we want to do. We couldn't find anything negative about cycling. Now, sure, you have to be careful of traffic, but planning a safe ride is really part of the fun.
We both embrace this new sport or hobby, however you want to look at it, and feel a lot better for doing it.
So we hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please share it with your friends and also hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button so you get notified when our new videos come out. And we have more coming out on cycling.
And don't forget, the final area that we mentioned was the idea of community. Cycling has a tremendous community. You can look anywhere in your village, in your town, in your state, and find bikers that want to join you.
Right.
I know we're going to do that when we get back to Connecticut.
We are. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to being with you again.